Recording. Check, check. 1, 2. All right. Let's go.
Roll it. Uh-oh.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Tina and Anderson Show. I just want to mention this real quick is nobody has mentioned it to us, but we've noticed that the last couple of episodes, we looked a little bit more blurry. I did not set up the focus on the camera, and it didn't even dawn on us until I started doing the final edit of the video and uploading it. So hopefully we're in better focus now. And, I'm going to be more diligent in noticing that at setup when we start setting up. So nobody mentioned it to us. I'm sure if you watched our videos, especially our TikTok videos where I splice it between me and her, when it's just me and just her, it's more noticeable. I'm sure you've noticed. We noticed it too, so hopefully it's good now.
It.
Yeah, the content was good. We were getting some pretty decent views on our TikTok videos, and in our videos on YouTube. Pretty much has been steady. Obviously, we'll want it to grow, but it's not going down, so that's good. That's a good thing. Good. So, this is episode 11. Yeah, episode 11. This is great. If you guys are still sticking with us, thank you. We appreciate it. Tell a friend to tell a friend.
Yeah.
And
Don't
share.
To share.
If you guys like it and you think this is good stuff, share it. Especially our reels. Mm-hmm. Follow us on Instagram and on TikTok. If you follow us there, share those as well. We definitely appreciate it with helping us with the algorithm, because we feel that the reels and the TikToks is what's going to help promote our podcast and bring more people to our YouTube channel. So if we can keep that's why we could try. I know during Christmas and New Year's we weren't posting every day, but we're going to get back to try to post content every day, clips of our podcast, promoting it, and hopefully helping it continue to grow.
Everybody gets off of routine during the holiday season.
Yeah.
Like everybody gets off of routine. Everything's like crazy. So.
Yeah, exactly. But it's 2025. It's a new year. We're very excited. We're very excited what the year brings for us, or what God's going to bring for us in our personal lives, and also through this podcast that we want to grow and we want to share with more and more people. So we're praying and hoping that God continues to bless us through this journey, because we feel we have a good message, and it's a God-based message, biblical-based message for marriage and relationships. So, So thank you guys for still sticking with us and still listening to us. So follow us on Instagram and on TikTok. We appreciate it. So on today's episode, we have two reels that we're gonna listen to. Reels or TikTok? I mean, it's almost the same. We don't know. I forget.
You almost like don't even know like where it originated from.
Yeah, it's
like,
a reel or a TikTok.
It's like a TikTok that ends up on Instagram.
Yeah.
Like it's
So it depending on how much we talk about each one, because I feel like both videos we're gonna have a lot to talk about on that. But if we have time, we try to go around an hour. Sometimes we go an hour 15, hour and 20. But if it's going to be close to 2-hour video, we're going to probably skip the Reddit post for another time. But it's a good one.
Yes. Stay tuned. Stay till the end.
So with this first one, so Tina got stitched. So a few episodes ago, there was we had a short podcast, and then the next episode, if you guys have been listening to every episode, we told you how we cut part of it out, because the reason why is I didn't hit record. It was this part. Well, I hit record. I hit stop recording. That's what happened. I hit stop recording, and we played the video, talked about this video, and then I realized I stopped recording.
So here we are again.
So we're bringing it back again. I was waiting until Tina was okay to talk about it again. So Tina got stitched. It was about this video. It was about on this. It was this podcast where we talked about how spouses do fight, and it's okay if spouses fight. What is not okay is that if you're not handling it right, and if you don't resolve the issue.
It's all about the communication tactics.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly. So we played a clip on it on TikTok. I think this was you were stitched on TikTok. I think that's what it was.
First off, there was a different lady who kept coming at me in the comments about how it's just not okay for married couples to fight, disagree, or argue.
Yeah.
So you can't do any of those things,
right,
according to this woman. And what happened is she brought in this other woman hoping that she would stitch me, and she did. So, and this other woman has like over 800,000 followers, and she also has like a method that you can follow.
Yeah.
So,
interesting. So let's get into it.
I don't know why they're stitching our little account right now.
We're small. We're like a blip.
We're like a little dot
in the YouTube universe and in the TikTok universe. We're a blip.
Yeah, we're a little tiny dot.
Yeah, I kind of felt honored, even though she was hating on us. So I'm not going to keep you guys waiting any longer. We're going to play the video so you know what we're talking about, and then we're going to talk about it more. Okay, here we go.
You know, like those couples that are like, we don't fight. We don't
fight, and I really don't appreciate the false narrative that everybody has to be dysfunctional. I don't fight with my husband because I used a no kissing for 3 months dating around. I actually got to know him before I met him. I don't need to change him. Fighting with somebody is your attempt to change them into the person you want them to be. I don't have that problem, so we don't fight. But it sucks that you're normalizing fighting. I would think functional people would not want to do that. So that tells me that you're probably not functional. You want to normalize toxicity and abuse because you're regurgitating things that you've heard without any critical thinking whatsoever. If I offered you 2 plates, one is the chemicals that are attributed to stress and fear, cortisol and adrenaline. The other is attributed to a warm, loving relationship, serotonin, oxytocin, dopamine. Which plate do you want to eat? Exactly. So I'm logical. I don't fight.
Sorry, she started promoting her book, so that's why we ended it right there, because
we're not going to promote her.
It's stupid. I'm gonna say something real quick. Now I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna unleash you. So it's funny how she just took that little blip and just started insulting us, and
all of
we
them
don't know what
insults.
we're talking about. Look. We're not claiming to be professionals. This is based on what we have learned. We've
experience. Our experience.
Yeah, we've been through we've said this before. If you guys know us, we've been through marriage counseling, and we've learned how to better handle our marriage. We're not perfect,
communication wise.
Exactly, and we've been through marriage conferences, marriage banquets, just because we want to learn more about each other and how marriage works and how to deal with the opposite sex. So we're not professionals at this. We're basically talking about
to be. We don't claim to be.
Right. So we talk about what we've learned in our experience. So. All right, so that's what I wanted to say. That's it. So I'm unleash you. I know you had notes. I don't know if you still have them, but
I don't need them anymore.
Okay.
I'm so over this. Okay, so if anybody knows me and Anderson, and you just watch that clip, the first 2 seconds, if you know us, you're thinking, "Oh, she doesn't know."
Yeah.
She doesn't know.
Right.
What is it that she doesn't know? She's talking about, she thinks that she knew her husband better than me and my husband knew each other before we got married. And that's why we fight. And she doesn't fight with her husband because she says that she had a 3-month no kissing thing. I don't even know. Ban. Okay.
It's real quick. I just want to say, it just sounds a little silly from where she's coming from. But we know a couple who did no kissing before they got married, and but they had a very good reason why, because of their past, and they're a wonderful married couple. Wonderful married couple. They have a couple boys, and they have a very great marriage. So so anybody who's ever done that, no kissing before marriage, we don't think it's dumb, but it's just from
I'm
where
not
she's
even going to say anything
but
about
if from
that.
she's come, I know
I'm
you're
not even going to say anything about that.
I know you're not, but I just want to address, because we're laughing at her for saying that because of where she's coming from. That's all. I know that's not what you're going to say.
That has nothing to do with my point.
Okay, go ahead.
It's hilarious because she thinks that she knows her husband more than I know my husband.
Right, yeah.
Before they got married, because she didn't kiss him for 3 months.
Yeah, which is
so
weird.
she basically is saying, I got to know my husband for 3 months before blah, 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 blah. And I'm saying that if people that know us are watching this, they're laughing.
Yeah.
Because we have known each other since we were 13 and 14 years old. This man right here was my first kiss.
Yeah.
We were high school sweethearts. We were college
time.
sweethearts. We have been together. We have been through hell and back. Okay. So I don't know what details are within this no kissing thing that you did for 3 months, but I can assure you that I knew my husband before I married him. We've been married for 21 years. We have 3 beautiful children. Like I said, we have a massive past. I've known this man for like 30
years. Yeah.
30 years.
Yeah.
Like we literally grew up together. We have been together since we were in middle school. We have been dating since we were in middle school. We went through middle school together, high school together, college together, marriage, kids. Okay. So that's why I'm saying anybody that's watching this is laughing.
Yeah.
Because if you think not kissing your husband for 3 months means that you knew your husband more than I knew mine, it's literally laughable. It's laughable.
Right. So I think if she had no ammo, she basically went off of that.
It was
one little clip. I don't know if she watched the whole clip.
It was a 3-second clip that she played of me.
Yeah.
Which is off of like a 1 minute reel.
Yeah.
Which is part of a 1 hour episode we did.
Right.
And she is making horrible claims about me. I don't have any logic.
Yeah.
That I don't know how to logically think. And it's insane. And she's got this method that people follow because, like I said, that other woman who came in my comments who invited this other woman to stitch me was talking about how she follows this woman's method. And she goes on at the end to promote books. Now, I don't know if she wrote the books or if she just gets some sort of kickback from promoting the books.
Right.
I have no idea. I didn't look too much into this woman because I don't want to give her the views and the activity because she's got enough. She's got 800,000 followers.
Yeah.
She's got this method that
Leading a bunch of people astray.
So our point that, like, she's sitting here stitching, like I said, like 3 seconds, that we're trying to promote fighting in your marriage, that is way off course.
Yeah, because
like you can't, like, what we were saying, if she were to even, like, I forget what else I said in like the 1 minute reel, but if she watched the episode, which she clearly didn't, and she just wanted to attack me and insult me, this is how she gets people to come into, and she gets more views and blah, blah, blah. And it's funny because here she is talking about like how bad fighting is, and she's this nasty on social media.
I know, she sounded very condescending.
She's very condescending.
Condescending.
I can't say it.
I'll say it for you. Condescending.
And angry, but then talking about how like you shouldn't fight and argue. She seems to do a pretty damn good job of it on social media.
She came at you with a lot of sass.
Yeah, there was a lot of attitude there. I don't claim to know this woman. I'm not going to go and look up her method, but it seems to me like she's literally trying to tell her followers that if you fight argue or disagree in your marriage, there's something wrong with it and you need her.
Yeah, our method is basically biblical method. What people who study marriage and promote marriage through the biblical way, you know, that's what we've learned, and that's what we are implementing in our marriage. So we feel that works because we feel it is the best way. And it's so funny how people are. She's like, we don't fight. Okay, you can't control how your husband feels. You might say something or do something that triggers him. And what if he gets angry and starts yelling at you? You get in your feelings, you yell at him. You're fighting. Now because you're promoting this no fight relationship, you're not going to know how to handle the situation. How are you going to know how to handle it?
And that's what we were saying in that particular video was there is a way to fight. If you're fighting to hurt the other person, not okay. If you're fighting to win the argument, not okay. You need to be fighting for resolution, for there to be a good outcome at the end of it. And it's funny because she's in Canada. So I don't know, because they kept saying, look up the definition of fighting. Look up the definition. You should try looking up the definition of fighting. I clearly understand the definition of fighting, okay? But maybe it's, I don't know, a Canada thing, an America thing. I don't know. We kind of use the word fight in like a million different ways.
Yeah.
Like you can have a marriage fight, or there could be an MMA fight. Yeah. There could be a wrestling fight. There could be like two people arguing back and forth. That's a fight. So like I don't know if it's like a language thing, but they don't leave any options. You're not allowed to, because I was like, all right, let's use another word. Arguing.
Yeah.
And they were like, you shouldn't be arguing in your marriage. Okay, did you hear her? She said, if you're arguing or fighting in your marriage, it means that you're trying to change him. Somebody explain that to me. Okay, so what we say is, if you have no arguing in your marriage, somebody is the yes person. Yeah. Somebody is the person who just eats it every time and just lays down.
Yeah, which is probably her husband.
Which is probably her husband, because there's no arguing with that.
Yeah.
So
it's okay to fight. If you fight look, I'm not saying you should fight every day. It's not like you should go to battle with your spouse every day over everything.
Too much, that's a problem.
Yeah. But fights are going to happen. You're a man. There's a man and a woman that live together. It's not going to be paradise all the time.
That's what I said. I said, so you expect to live like the next 60, like, you know, the next 50 years with this person, and never disagree, argue, or fight? So like my problem is that she has this method that these people are following, and basically there's no way to win in her method, because she's basically saying you need me and you need these books. If you fight in your marriage, that's very, very, very bad, and you need me in order to fix it. But here's the problem: you're not. She's trying to fix something that you can't. Now, if it was her saying, like what we're saying, like there's a way to do it, and you shouldn't be, arguing or fighting with your spouse to hurt them. You know, to like find their triggers and to find their buttons and press them every time because you know it hurts them and it gets to their you shouldn't be doing that. But that's not what she's saying. She's literally saying if you argue or you disagree with your spouse, it means you're trying to change them. Yeah. I mean, that is clearly a bunch of BS.
It is.
Like, it's clear. It's like it's a scam. Because she's selling you something that you can't get. Yeah. So every time if you're following her method and you're like, oh, I can't believe we fought again. Oh, I better read this book again, or I better refer to what she says. And then we fought again. I can't believe this isn't working. Maybe we should get a divorce.
I mean, that's the thing. There's a lot of people out there that are like that. They have a marriage. They expect everything to be great and happy. And then the first fight happens. Then they think, well, maybe we're just not meant for each other.
You have to know how to fight. You have to know how
Even
to.
if you're screaming at each other, you should learn how to de-escalate it, calm down, figure out what the solution is, so you won't have that kind of fight again.
So it's crazy how she stitched me. We clearly know that a lot of people are not going to agree with us. And there's probably more stitches on the horizon. But it's like the way she did it and the part of the video that she used literally does not define what even that episode was about.
Right.
We were literally just trying to say that there's a way to do it. Don't hurt each other. Don't be doing it to if you're fighting to win, you always have to be the winner. Then both of you lose.
Exactly.
Both of you lose.
Yeah,
So,
there was. So I know that clip definitely triggered a lot of people. So I think there was some interactions on when I put it as a short on our YouTube channel. So I'm gonna see if I can find it and then and just look up what some of the comments were. Let's see here, fighting. Okay, yeah. This one has 10 comments, right? All right, so I posted this on. I did the wrong one.
like, go to the comments.
Yeah, I did the wrong one. Where is it? Fighting.
Sorry.
Yeah, right here.
What are we doing?
Oh yeah, no, it's 2 comments. Sorry. Somebody asked, what do you consider a fight? Because I believe couples that have disagreements, but it never comes to yelling or to blows, I think they don't consider
again.
that fighting. So see, they don't consider an argument fighting. I mean,
I just think we use the word
just the
fighting
word. It's just-
super
yeah,
loosely,
yeah.
and maybe in this country, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like they seem like,
Everybody was hung up on the definition of fight. It was like, huh? Like if I call my friend, I'm gonna say, well, yeah, me and Anderson got into a fight last night. I'm not gonna sit here and be hung up on the definition.
Yeah, it's like when they
I didn't realize that there was so much controversy with the word fight.
Yeah, it's like when we say fight, they think it's physical.
Yeah, that we're like beating the crap out of each other.
Okay, so this is what they said. So yelling or at blows, I think they don't consider that fighting. They consider it discussion because no one gets out of pocket because because they respect the other and want to handle a healthy disagreement are not fights. So if that helps. So I replied with, what we consider a fight is when we get upset with each other or a heated disagreement, or if we do something that triggers the other. Before going through marriage counseling, we got to yelling and insulting each other. We have learned to work through that and to solve our issues.
To do it
but that doesn't mean we never tick each other off. Yeah. I'm a man, she's a woman. It's bound to happen, but we work it out. Might not be right away. Sometimes we have to take a moment, calm down, then talk it out. It's still a fight, but we handle it more maturely. I mean, this is basically how you handle it. I mean, I'm not saying if Tina, if I said there's this button here and I'm like, Tina, this button is laughter, and you're like, no, this button is the horn. That's not a fight. That's a disagreement.
Yeah.
But if I came home at like 5:30 and you were like, just remember, I was supposed to leave at 5:30 to go out with my friends, and I come home at 5:30, and then you're like, I told you I was supposed to leave at 5:30, and then I'm like, I told you I was coming home at 5:30, and then we start an argument there about this 5:30. That's like a fight right there, because there was some misunderstanding. And we got heated.
That we were throwing hands.
Then we can just be like, you know what? I'm sorry. I misunderstood you. I thought I told you I was home at 5:30 and you were okay with that. And when you said 5:30, I thought you were just okay with me being home at 5:30. Not that you were going out with your friends, and just talk it out and work it out.
You have to know how to navigate through an argument.
Yeah.
You can't sit here and tell me that you actually think you're going to go your entire marriage without fighting And you cannot convince me for a second that somebody is not the yes person who just goes, yes, dear, whatever
Yeah.
you say, dear.
Right.
And that's not healthy either. And I am like floored that she accused me or us in this podcast that we are promoting fighting.
Right. We're not. We don't promote it. What we do,
We not.
We just don't
We just
deny it.
acknowledge that it's going to
Yeah.
happen and that you need to know how to navigate through it. We're always talking about, learning about each other,
Yeah.
always pouring into your marriage, which means like learning how to navigate through things in your marriage.
Right.
Like this is what we're talking about. And like he said in the beginning, we do not claim to be, and we're not like, this is how you do it. And if you don't do it like this, then you need to read this
Right.
book right here, or you need to come back and see what I say about the situation. We are never saying,
Yeah.
do it this way or you're wrong.
Yeah,
we're just here saying, this is what we've learned.
Yeah.
This has been our journey. This is what's worked for us. This is how we handle X, Y, and Z. And then like our opinion on these clips that we bring up and how we would handle it.
Yeah,
So-
we'll give you guys suggestions, but at the end of the day, we will always say, seek a marriage counselor, somebody who's a pro at this, somebody who can give you the tools, because that's what we've done and it helped us. Now, if you guys are fighting, if you're a married couple and you're fighting way too much, like every day, that might be a sign you need marriage counseling to work it out. That does not mean your marriage is over. That's not what it means. The world will tell you that. TikTok will tell you that. Divorcees will tell you that. No, that's not the end. It's not the end. You know, you have a best friend and you might have a huge argument with your best friend, but then you make up. Why can you do that with your best friend, but not in your marriage? Because you are best friends.
She was literally arguing with me on social media.
Yeah.
Talking about how you shouldn't argue. Like, I'm just like, there was so much negativity and so much accusations going on there. And she doesn't even know me. Who knows if she even watched the entire
she probably didn't.
1 minute reel. It seems to me like she didn't even watch the 1 minute reel, never mind the 1 hour episode that she was about to stitch.
Well, maybe she did. Maybe she did watch the 1 minute reel and just decided to stitch that 2 second
No,
part.
I know. Like she took, she's clearly very good at manipulating.
Hey,
is
but you know
she's
what?
very good
I
at.
kind of wish it brought more people to our TikTok, give us more views, help the algorithm, even if it's negative.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but that's all right. Hey, but that's it. That's all we have to say about that.
About that.
Tina got stitched. She might get stitched again as our channel grows.
I
And
can't
as we
wait until
continue to
you
do
get
this.
stitched.
Hey, you know what? I'll be like, yo, I appreciate
Bring it on.
I appreciate the promotion, the free promotion.
Well,
I
that's what
appreciate
I'm
it.
saying. Like, thanks for the activity.
Yeah. So the next TikTok or reel is so there's this
we don't know.
there's this woman talking about who's the happiest. And then I have a couple of statistics to talk about that kind of debunks what she's saying, because right when I first watched it, I was like, this cannot be true. There is no way. Here it is.
If you look at the stats on who's happiest, the happiest people are single women and married men. They're the two happiest groups of people always.
Single women
And married men
are the happiest.
But the happiest groups of people, like not married women. Married women end up doing all the jobs, and married women aren't happier than single women. Single women are happier than married women. And married men are really happy because they get everything done for them, basically.
Source. She doesn't say where she got the statistic from.
This is total bull.
It's a bull.
So here's this first stat I wanted to go over. So this one here is marital stat. So this one says, one factor stands out in terms of happiness, right? Marriage. Married people were persistently 30 points happier than unmarried people. So that means a married woman is 30% happier than a single woman. So So that's what I'm saying. So here's what it is right here. So you got at the top, right here, you got marital status. Look, they're 30. They keep going up. It kind of went down a little bit, but it's kind of going back up. And look at not married people. It went up, and then it took a dip. It's kind of coming back up again, but still, they're down here. Married people are up there. Mm-hmm. So it totally debunks everything she just said.
Hey, she didn't have a source anyways. She didn't have any statistics.
Yeah, because it really, I mean, all you got to do is go on TikTok and all these single women talking about where all the good men at. Mm-hmm. And then the divorcees, I can't do this. This is so tough.
I can't do this by myself.
You don't see
either that, or they're like, I'm the happiest I've ever been by myself.
You might see like a handful of married women out there. I can't do this. This is terrible. But most of married women, and it's funny because married men are happier because they get everything done for them. I don't get everything done for me.
Well, I mean, there's no mention to what. Okay, if we're literally just thinking of our marriage, yes, I do things for you. First off, it's not everything. How the heck could I? Second off, the amount of things that this man does for me is insane. As I slept on this couch and took a nap today, and he was snow blowing the driveway, and went and looked at a side job, came back and stacked the wood, like taking a nap.
It's crazy how it's a terrible mindset,
and it matters who you marry too. Let's not even.
It's a terrible mindset when women think of marriage of them doing everything for the man,
but the man does nothing for her.
That's a terrible mindset, and that's really a horrible way to look at marriage. A marriage is a selfless job. Like, I do things for her not because I'm expecting her to do it for me. So if I come home after a 12-hour shift and I don't get a hot plate, I'm not going to be like, I worked 12 hours today. Where's my hot plate? I'm not going to be like that. That's terrible. But these women have this kind of mindset that are telling women that's how marriage is like. He's going to be working all day, and he's going to come home and he's going to want his hot plate. And if you don't, he's going to give it to you. No. She does that mostly anyways, but if she doesn't, I'm not going to get mad at her for it. It's not a give and take. Oh, I'm going to do this, so you have to do this because I'm doing this. It's not. I'm doing this because you're my wife, and I chose you to be in my life, and she does things for me because I'm her husband, and she chose me to be in her life. Like, it's so twisted.
It's so crazy
when
perception
there are people
of
like this look at marriage that way, and it's so dumb. It's like, oh, married men are happy because everything gets done for them. I'm sorry, what?
It's crazy because, okay, so if I were to say, say I'm talking to one of my friends and I say, I love, cooking for my husband. I love making sure the house is clean for when he comes home so he doesn't come home to chaos. I always want to make sure that he comes home to a peaceful house, blah, blah, blah. What do you think my friend's going to say back to me?
What do you do for them? I mean, what does he do for you, or
what
something?
What does he do for you?
Yeah.
Every time. Like, I'm only doing those things for him so I can get something, so I can manipulate something out of him.
Yeah.
Like, no. I do those things because I'm his wife and I love him. And he does a ton of stuff for me because he's my husband and he loves me.
Yeah, because there was what was that video we saw about this woman saying, this is how you teach your man to get your flowers. And she totally came up with this whole thing and how to manipulate them. That's not what marriage is. You
And
don't
everybody was
manipulate
in the
each other.
everybody was in the comments saying, "So you are gentle parenting your husband?"
Yeah, if you're manipulating your
him.
spouse to get something for you or to do something for you, that's a terrible marriage. That's terrible. You know, basically, well, I commented and I said, look, I'll if you want flowers, you know what? Be feminine, do things for him, you know, be pretty, be his peace. And that's it. He's going to give you the world. I mean, that's it. That's it. That's all we need.
Men are simple.
You don't have to manipulate us.
Men are simple.
You don't have to
Very
manipulate.
simple.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's just so. But here's this other stat I wanted to look at here. So it says, what is the state of marriage in America? So in 1949, 78.8% of households contained married couples. Now here we go. 73 years later in 2022, right? 46.8% of household had married couples. That's that's a 32% drop.
Well, do you think it has anything to do with the reputation that's being portrayed out there about marriage? Like that it's just a guy who comes home and grabs his beer and demand things from you and blah. There is such a misperception of marriage, and I fully think it's because of Hollywood. Like, I mean, look at how we think of
that in social media.
Well, social media, because it's like social media is like egging on what people are already thinking from Hollywood.
Yeah.
I mean, but look at the perception that people have of like men in the 50s or like a married couple in the 50s where like the man controls her and she just stays home and cooks in the kitchen and wears the pretty dress while the man has like the iron fist. Like, has anybody ever asked their grandfather or their grandmother if their grandfather beat them? Like, have you ever heard horror stories from your grandparents of how horrible of a husband he was?
Well, I know my grandmother, before she passed, she had dementia. My grandfather passed away before her. She had dementia, but she still remembered her prince. My grandfather, she would every morning she would say, "Where's my prince? Where's my prince?" Yeah, before he passed away, he took care of her.
Yeah,
he did everything for her, and she remembered him. She forgot her kids, but she remembered him and Jesus.
Yeah,
she definitely remembered Jesus. She did not forget Jesus.
Yeah,
but I mean, that to me, that's not a sign of a woman that was treated horribly early in their marriage in the 50s.
In the 50s.
You know, when they were young parents, because that's when my mother and some of her siblings were born in the 50s. They were young parents back then. That doesn't seem like a woman that was treated horribly.
Yeah. I just think that it was more common for a woman to be home. So people, and then it doesn't help that like Hollywood creates this picture in your head, you know, of like this, you're like in captivity because like he keeps you home. You couldn't work, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like it's like you're in captivity.
Yeah.
You know, when like it was more normal for people to be, you know, for women to be home. And I know like, you know, when did like the feminist movement start with like, we want to be able to vote, we want to be able to work.
It's been going on for like about 100 years, but it's evolved. You know, women wanted to vote, and then women wanted to work, and then women wanted to be in positions of power, and now women want to be men.
So here we are, but I'm talking about back then, you know, so like more women were just in the home. They were, you know, they were homemakers or whatever. It was just more common, you know, plus just like the setup of society and, you know, the prices of things, I guess, you know, one income, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So,
and people say, oh, you can't live on one income now. Like, okay, you might not be able to live off of one income and have the nicest house on the block, but you can live off of one income. Mm-hmm. It's everywhere.
What people don't like to hear when you say that is the word sacrifice.
Yeah.
And when we say sacrifice, we don't mean, oh, well, you might only be able to eat 4 days a week. you might not have a home or clothes. Like
We're talking about you're
we're
not going to be able to
talking
get the
about-
brand new Land Rover.
Right. We're talking about you're not going to be able to have $85,000 worth of car in the driveway. And instead of going on that $10,000, trip to that island, maybe you stay a little bit local, but you
Right.
still get to the beach and you cut it in half to $5,000.
Right. So, so back to this happiness thing.
Back to this.
I think this is just bull. I think it's
Well,
bull.
she
what
doesn't
she's
have-
saying.
she doesn't
It's
have a leg to
it's
stand
a terrible
on.
it's a terrible narrative, and it's something terrible to promote.
This is the
It's
kind of
not true.
poison
It's
that we're
not
talking
true.
about.
It's not true at all.
It's not.
She's probably talking about her little inner circle of people
Who are all divorced.
Yeah.
Her and
it's
her circle of
own
friends.
little world
Where they're all divorced
where
and claiming
she might
to be
have
happy.
some divorced friends who are happy that they got out of a marriage. Maybe it was a terrible marriage and they're very happy. And then you have other women who are in a terrible marriage. So but the men are oblivious to it and they're happy. So she's probably looking at that. Now it was just a clip. Maybe she had some stats.
Yeah,
but
maybe she
they were
had something at
probably
the end.
terrible. They're probably biased because I'm gonna post it in the comments. I didn't look it up right now where the stats will come from, but I won't post it I'll post it in the description in the video below, so you guys can look it up because it does talk about a bunch of other statistics when it comes to marriage too. But it was just a simple Google search and I found it, and it is a credible source. It wasn't some website.
It's crazy to me.
Oh, it was a university. It was a University of Chicago, I think it was. Now that I remember it, so yeah. But I'll put the description I'll put it in the descriptions.
It's crazy to me how much people will still lie, even though we have any information we would ever want in the palm of our hands.
Yeah,
And people will still blatantly lie on camera and have nothing to back it up.
yeah.
It's crazy to me.
Which they probably think we're doing right now. But I just laid out some stats.
That's the kind of like poison on social media that we're talking about when we're like, man, we gotta get on our own podcast and we need to like debunk this stuff.
Right. Yeah.
And we need to come in at another angle with this because they've got one angle,
Yeah.
and that's to destroy the nuclear family. That's it.
Right. When you keep God and you keep Jesus in your marriage, you're happy. Can you be happy single? Yeah, of course you can. But when you're married and you're creating a family, I mean, that's much more happiness. I mean, you're creating this family, watching these kids grow, product of what you've done, a product of your love. Jesus called us to multiply. That's what we're doing. Be fruitful and not Jesus, God. Well, Jesus, God, same thing. I don't want to get into theological stuff, but called us to be fruitful, multiply. That's what we're doing. We're keeping a biblical marriage. We go through Proverbs 31, which explains what a marriage should be, and that's what we strive for. We continue to strive for that, and we can try to continue to learn more and more from professionals, from other people. And just, but we always try to put our own twist because as we read or listen to other professionals about it, we always look at our experience because every marriage is different. And there are tools that every marriage could use that could work, and it just could work different way for multiple marriages because we're all unique. We're all different people. We all have a different personality. So I
think that like people are missing out if somebody in their marriage really thinks that they have it all figured out and they don't need to seek any other information. They don't need to feed their marriage. They don't need any more knowledge of anything. Like they're missing out. Like the information out there now and the way to always be working on your marriage. And if you're literally sitting here thinking we already know it all, like we already know it all, you can be married for 50 years, you're still learning. Like you are always learning every day.
Like when we're married for 50 years, I'm sure we're going to have a lot more wisdom than a married couple that's been married for 10 years. but we're not going to have all the answers. You know why? Because our marriage is different than their marriage. They might be going through something we never went through. We don't go through what every married couple in the world goes through, because everybody's unique. There's different cultures, there's different incomes, there's different climates.
It's all, it's important.
We don't know everything.
Yeah, it's important to always be reaching up, reaching up for more information instead of reaching down. If you wanted to know more about photography, wouldn't you seek out a photographer?
Yeah.
So to always be looking for another source on how we can feed our marriage,
Right.
how we can learn more about the opposite sex,
Right.
how we think, how we function, communication.
Yeah.
And to literally be sitting here thinking, we already know it all.
Right.
Nobody's going to tell us anything that we don't already know. We got it.
And you
We
can't
got it.
mirror
It's-
your marriage.
You're missing out.
You can't mirror your marriage. You can't look at another marriage and be like,
And
wow,
compare.
that marriage is so great. Why can't our marriage be like that?
Yeah, that's a
We know
ticking
peop-
time bomb.
Yeah, we know people have great marriages, but we're like, our marriage ain't like that, which is okay.
It's fine.
We're happy that they have that marriage. We are so happy you guys have this type of marriage.
It works for them.
Our marriage ain't like that. Yeah. So we're gonna be happy in the way that we're happy because we're into different things. Like a married couple that likes to go hiking at every mountain in the United States, and that makes them so happy. That's great. We're not gonna do that.
We don't do that. I'm finding I don't like hiking.
Yeah.
I hate being in the middle of the woods. And he loves it. He loves it. I'm like, I can't stand it. I go into full on panic mode.
Well,
that's not something we're gonna do together.
Right. Another quick example. We watch travel YouTubers that travel around the world, and we see their marriage, and we're like, oh my God, they have a great marriage. They're traveling around the world and things like that. But we're like, we're not them.
We're not them.
I'm not him. She's not her. We're not like them. That's great that they have this type of marriage and they've built this business traveling the world. We're not like that. you know? So we're not going to try to be like them.
Yeah.
We're going to try to be like Tina and Anderson.
All
right. Make sure to like and subscribe. All right. So I guess
comment, subscribe, tell a friend.
I don't know if you have anything else to say, but I think we definitely have time to get into this Reddit story.
How long is the Reddit story? Okay.
Well, it's not long.
Sometimes you put up a Reddit and I'm like,
no,
there's more. There's another page.
No, this one's not long at all. So this one is, my husband thinks I'm a horrible mother because I don't want to stay home. I mean, that's all right. Let's get right into it because
just read it. We don't have any comment.
Yeah,
just read it.
Usually it's kind of the opposite, but this is what they have to say. So,
go ahead.
A little backstory. I female 30 and my husband 39 male, have 4 children, 11, 9, 6, and 2. God bless you guys. For the first 7 to 8 years, I was a stay-at-home mom, but I went to school and got a certificate and have been working off and on ever since. My husband makes more than enough money for me to stay at home, but I would rather work. Yeah, that's a different breed of a woman there who wants to work, even though when her husband makes a lot of money. Anyway, let's move on here. So my 2-year-old has to go to a daycare every day, but for my mental health, I cannot be at home all day, every day.
It's not for everyone.
So yeah,
it's not.
Right. So she stays home, but her 2-year-old goes to daycare every day.
No. She's working. Wait. What does it say? Okay.
My 2-year-old. So she's saying she's been working off and on. She wants to work. Now she wants to go work, not off and on, but she wants to go to work. So she says my 2-year-old has to go to daycare every day, but for my mental health. Oh, okay. She's probably saying if she'd rather work and because of that, her 2-year-old would have to go to daycare every day. All right. So for her mental health. So she could have to be at home all day, every day for her mental health. So, all right, we have recently had a pretty big blow up, and it has come to the light that he resents my job. He would rather me be at home all day to cook and clean and take care of the kids, where I realize someone would kill for this. I'm just not able to do it again. Also, we have had many splits and I'm always stuck with a job.
Without a job.
Without a job. Oh, we've had many splits.
They've split up.
Oh, wow. And I've always been stuck without a job and no money, only for him to throw his money in my face.
Huh? Okay, I'm confused at this point. So they're married, but is she calling like splits? Splits.
That it seems splits like they've split up and got back together.
They're not boyfriend and girlfriend. They're married. That would be a divorce.
Yeah.
So apparently
Maybe
they just keep
maybe they
splitting
split
up
up and then just made up and then
get back together again
Yeah.
and then split up. She says many splits.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't know what that means. How many?
and I'm always stuck without a job and no money, only for him to throw it back in my face. So my fear.
She doesn't feel secure. She
Right.
doesn't feel secure because they keep breaking up. So why would she be without a job? She feels like she needs a job because her relationship does not feel secure to her.
Right. So my fear of staying at home may be a trauma, a trauma response to this. I think she's correct.
She's correct.
I think she's correct there. On the other hand, my husband wants this, so he is absolved from doing any housework at all. Now he is calling me a crappy mother because I don't want to be a stay-at-home mother. So am I the
Blank.
butthole?
Oh, like that was any better.
So, all right. So there's a lot going on here.
Yeesh. I just like, so
I don't know if
what
you want to talk about, if you want to comment about her, and then I'll comment about him.
No, well, I just wanted to say, like, why do they keep splitting up? Is it because he's like, I feel like you choose your job over me? Because he's saying that, like, he's starting to resent her job. Does she choose her job over him? I mean, does he feel like she's chosen her job over her family? Maybe that's how he feels, because she does have the opportunity to be home and does not want to. And the thing that I would say is staying home with very young children, and maybe even, we don't know, did she say how old her kids were?
Yeah, in the beginning it said
two and
let me see, 11, 9, 6, and 2.
11, 9, 6. Okay, so fairly young, and she has a toddler. So staying home with young ones like a toddler is like way different than like what I have or what I've had for years.
Yeah.
Because our kids are older.
Right.
They're at school, blah, blah, blah. When you are home with like an infant, a toddler, it's 24/7. So it is not for everyone. Some
Right.
people like to be out of the house. I mean, there is things that you can do to like make it work, like you can join play groups and go to the library and go for walks and join the mom's group that meets at the park.
Right.
And there's options. It would take some work to get everything all organized and because like some women just they need to be like busy all the time. They
Yeah.
don't want to be in the house. Me, I'm a homebody, and I always have been, and I really didn't have the opportunity to like, I mean, I stayed home with Lana for a little bit.
Yeah.
But when I was decided that like I was going to be home, Maya was older toddler.
Right.
So I wasn't home with like an infant,
Right.
blah, blah, blah. So
But you still got to do stuff with the kids. You still did stuff with the kids.
no, but like I'm saying I wasn't home with like, like a 6-month-old
Right.
all day long, because it's very different. The ages of the children matter, you
Yeah.
know. So
Yeah, it
it can be very like monotonous
Yeah.
and just very like repetitive. And like I get it when women don't want to be home with their kids, but I am so not an advocate for daycare that like I just want to be like, but you have the choice to not put them in daycare.
Right.
Like if you can like not put your kids in daycare, like I would do that like that, but that's just my train of thought here. But then like I was saying, I'm thinking like, what are the fights about? Why do they keep splitting up? But they do keep splitting up. So she doesn't feel secure in her marriage.
Right.
And she doesn't feel that he would necessarily always be the provider of
Right.
her and her child, because when they break up, she's left with nothing.
Right. So
It's not
when she said
it's a trauma response.
yeah, when she said
It
that,
is.
that
It
was
definitely is.
that said it all right there.
So he would have to make moves, and it wouldn't happen overnight. He would have to make moves to prove to her that like he's here for good.
Yeah.
And we're gonna, whatever we come in contact with, we're gonna work on it. You know, like we're done with this breaking up. You know, let's seek counseling. Let's
Right.
let's figure out some tactics on how to navigate through things and communication and all that kind of stuff. Like he would have to make moves to, unless, see, we don't know this either. Is she the one who's always breaking up with him?
That I
See,
mean,
like,
that could be.
we don't know like the details. So
She didn't say that, so it could
So-
be. It could be her. So what I'm thinking is obviously there's something deeper going on here. So this whole thing isn't about her staying at home with the kids and going to work. She's trying to make it seem like I want to work. I don't want to stay home. I want to work. All right.
But she does say that she wants to be at work because she can't be home for her mental health.
Right, because I think it's not just her staying home with the kids. I think
It's him
if she
too.
had a really great marriage, she wouldn't mind. She'd be happy. But I think there's something deeper going on in her marriage where she feels miserable. She's afraid. She's afraid that what if all this goes away? I need to have a job. I need to work, because if all this goes away, I have
do I do?
something. I have something. So she's always thinking of the what ifs, and because of that, that's why she's having this trauma response.
She's always on the defense.
She's always on the
She's
defense.
always
So
on the defense.
we don't know who start the fights. We don't know. I don't know if she
Fights are
comes.
about.
I don't know if he comes home after a long day and she's miserable, and then it rubs off on him, and they get into a fight. Or
We don't
if maybe he brings work home where something went on at home, and then he comes home and he takes it out on he comes home, kids are screaming, like that scene from It's a Wonderful Life when he gets on all the kids. Maybe it's something like that, where he feels like my home is not peace anymore. Now, I mean, obviously it's not her fault. If he comes home and the kids are screaming, that's not her fault.
Because they have younger children.
Right.
That's the thing. They got a couple of like middle-aged
And-
children.
right.
But like a 2-year-old is
Right.
like,
And when she said, I don't know if it's true. It might just be her saying this because she's upset, or it could be true where, he wants to be absolved of all the housework and, and things like that. But I mean, if that's the case, look, you're a father. I mean, we talked about this in another Reddit story we talked about. I mean, when you're a father, what's wrong with coming home and giving your kids some attention to get them out of your wife's hair?
yeah, she just had them all day.
Just because,
And then just look around and see what else you could help
Right.
with real quick.
Yeah,
She's
like-
been doing this all day. You got to leave work.
right.
She doesn't. It's
So-
24/7. So
So
she
I'm
needs relief where you can give relief.
Right. So our kids are older. So I know I'm able to come home and relax. Our kids are older. They're in their rooms.
I'm probably already relaxing.
They
by the
hardly
time he
care.
gets home.
They hardly care if I give them attention. Right. I do though.
But he does.
I do. Right. But when your kids are younger, I'm sorry, you're a dad. You come home, your work ain't over. You got your other job. Your job of being a dad. So there's nothing wrong with, hey, mom's been with the kids all day. She wants to cook dinner or whatever. Hey, get the kids out of her hair. Be like, hey, let me take the kids if you want to cook dinner. It'll be easy. You get some peace. Let her have some peace and quiet while she cooks dinner. She's cooking dinner for the whole family.
We do that even
Give her
now.
give her some peace.
You come home and I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
So Maya has to go to basketball, but I have to start dinner.
Right.
So he'll be like, got it. I'll bring Maya to basketball. Like,
Yeah, so
it's a divide and conquer kind of thing.
Right. You can't just come home, crack open a beer and sit back and put on the game. I'm sorry. You got young kids. They need their father.
Mm-hmm.
You come home, give them some attention. Find out about their day.
Mm-hmm.
Find out about their life that you're not there. You're not there. You don't know that part of their life.
Mm.
Give her a break. So it seems like they both need to work on some stuff.
Yeah.
They both
And the thing
do.
about Reddit is that there's always a lot of details you don't get.
Yeah, you get one
so
side of the
you're,
story.
Yeah, you're literally, well, first off, you're only getting one side of the story.
Right.
And it's whatever is written here. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all you get. And they want to know if am I in the wrong or not? And
Yeah.
you're like, okay. But then I think that this is what Reddit sparks is
Right.
by reading this, you come up with 100 questions.
Yeah.
Because the details are not there.
Right.
You're like, what are you fighting about? What do you mean you split? You're married. You're not dating. When you split, does he no longer lives with you, so you don't have his income? Did he leave? Did you leave? What you never find out.
We don't know the whole story.
The whole
A lot of details.
story. So that's the thing with Reddit is it makes you think of 100 questions.
Yeah. So I wanted to go. There's a couple of answers there from people that responded to this Reddit story. First one says, "Yep, sounds like he wants you financially dependent on him so he can financially abuse you. Good on you for resisting cause it must be really tough. Not the donkey butt. And I'm sorry you have 4 kids with one." Yeah. So a lot of times with these Reddit stories is it's like, I think a lot of times people are trying to seek validation. I'm just looking at the screen because it came off the TV screen. So I'm just trying to put it back on real quick. So I think a lot of people are just trying to look for validation. So for example, if somebody wants to leave their spouse, they turn to Reddit with the story to see what Reddit says. And I'm sorry, you shouldn't get validation from strangers online that you don't know.
I hope you're not
about your marriage.
Holding this, holding people, to what they say. You don't even know these people. But one thing I wanted to say was, I understand a husband who wants his wife to stay home because then, I'm sorry, if you're home, you can better take care of the home. I think we can all agree with that. If you're not working 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, 5 days a week, the home will be better taken care of.
Right.
And, so, and it's her doing it. She's raising the kids. She's taking care of the kids. She's taking care of the house instead of maybe having to pay someone to do it. So I get a husband that would love for his wife to be home in order to keep the house more in order and less chaos.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a lot of kids.
Right.
You
It
so
is.
I do understand that. And it's funny that people are like, "Oh, he just wants to control you."
Right.
Right off the bat. See how that happens?
Yeah.
Because he would love to have a wife that stays home, takes care of the kids, and then the house is better managed.
Right.
Maybe the house is under bad management right now. We don't know what the household
Right.
looks like from day to day.
Right.
We don't know. See, these are the details you don't
From
get.
the outside, it could
Yeah.
probably be something like, he's like, "Babe, you don't have to work. I make enough money.
So why do you
I just
want
want
it?"
you to take
Yeah.
care of the kids." And maybe they have crazy wild kids and it drives her up the wall.
And she can't.
And
She can't.
and instead of talking to her husband and be like, "Hey, I need more of your help when you come home," she probably blows up at him and then he responds in that way, making him seem like the jerk. That could be it. We don't know. Or everything she's saying could be true. We don't know. He could be a prick. and be like, hey, I work, you stay home, you take care of the kids.
Yeah.
I'm working all day.
You do what
I don't have to do
say.
anything in the
Like,
house.
we don't know.
He could be, and if he is, hey, jerk, you're a jerk. You're not a man.
You're not a traditional
That's not a man.
husband, so
Yeah.
you're not going to get a traditional wife.
Yes,
Sorry.
this is what people need to understand. Traditional husbands do not expect their wives to be like a servant maid. They're a woman that you are taking care of because she is taking care of your kids. This is a woman you are.
We're seen as like precious.
Yes.
Like a precious gem that he needs to keep safe.
Yes.
Provide for, and how society manipulates that into like, no, he just wants you to be home so he can rule over you and tell you what to do and keep you under his thumb. No.
That's a terrible husband.
No.
A terrible husband.
So, and that's the thing. If he is doing all of those things, like ruling over you, putting you under his thumb, controlling you, he's not a traditional husband, but he's demanding that you be a traditional wife.
Yeah.
That's not how it works.
And
that's not how it works.
And they probably need to communicate better because maybe he doesn't know that she feels this way. Maybe he doesn't know. Maybe because they fight all the time.
I was saying this.
Fight.
I was saying this in a previous episode that like women think that men are just supposed to know or notice, or men are supposed to want to. Okay, so they'll say stuff like, you should want to do the dishes.
Yeah.
Girl, do you want to do the dishes?
Yeah, nobody
you
wants to
don't
do
even
dishes.
want to do the dishes. So, it's a lot of like the woman thinks the men are going to be mind readers, but also like behavior readers, like to notice like your facial expressions and be like, oh, she probably wants me to take the trash out. Like, this is not, just say it. Say it.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with being like, hey, like I said, I can't split myself in two. Can you go bring Maya to basketball? I'm starting. Like, it's
not wrong. Not wrong with asking for help in your marriage.
Ask.
It's what your spouse is there for, to help you out.
Just tell him. You're going to save yourself a lot of time, and you're going to save yourself a lot of aggravation.
Yeah.
Like, we get so like, how is he not noticing? How does he not know? Blah, blah. Just tell him. Tell him.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So there was one other response. Let's see what they said here. Oh yeah, I have to go on here because
it wouldn't come through.
It wouldn't come on the stream deck. There it is.
There it is.
All right. It says my mother was great, and she was working full time, getting a degree and raising 4 of us, while my father worked crazy, forced overtime when he was a deputy. And despite all that, she was still a great and loving mother, and my father still helped out despite how exhausted he was. All right, so this is a couple that made it work, where she worked and
was going to school, right? Isn't that what it said?
She went to school.
What are you playing?
Oh, that's our TV.
Ugh. When it's on pause.
I thought like a video was playing in the background.
That's what I thought.
It's our
too.
TV. It got out of like our screen is on the TV, and for some reason the input came out, and then our TV plays like naturescapes, and it started playing the background music. Just in case you're wondering, what that was.
Moving on.
So yeah, so that's a couple that made it work. I mean, they probably communicated with each other, talked about what each other wanted to do, and decided, okay, if you want to do this, I'll back you up. This is how we're going to make it work. Mm-hmm. You know, you got to talk to each other and figure out how to make it work. And the guy was, hey, you worked overtime and he's still present with his kids. Yeah. I mean, look, you're tired. Us fathers, we get tired. We work a lot. We get tired, but we still have to be fathers. Mm-hmm. We still have to be there for our kids. And it
matters.
Yeah,
it makes
it does.
A difference.
And we know you're out there working your butt off, and your wife is at home with the kids, but she needs a break from the kids, just like you came home and took a break from work, right? But yeah, now you get another job, which is your kids. She might have another job, which is cooking dinner. You know, so you when you're married and you have young kids, you're always working, you're always doing something, and it's hard to relax. And that's why it's always good. Like we say this all the time. You got to go on some dates. You got to go away with away together without the kids. You need time away from these kids. And a lot of married couples don't understand that. They think they got to be with their kids every day. Your kids are not going to be traumatized if they're away from you for a weekend.
Well, a
Even when they're young.
marriage that puts their kids before their marriage or before their spouse is you're going to get exhausted.
Yeah.
And then you're going to wonder why you start drifting apart.
Yeah.
You know, when you put your marriage first, a healthy marriage just pours into the children.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
and you're going to see that in your children.
Yeah.
So,
And your children will behave better
yeah.
because they're getting attention from both of you,
Statistics say
and they don't have to seek it because you're getting it.
Yeah.
A lot of times kids behave badly because
they
they're
act
seeking
out, yeah.
because they're seeking attention.
they're testing your limits.
Yeah.
They don't care if it's negative or positive attention. They just want attention.
Right.
And when they act up, they get your attention.
Yeah. I mean, your
yeah.
kids aren't going to be perfect angels all the
No,
time,
no.
but they're. I mean, our kids weren't perfect angels,
Oh,
but we've seen
okay.
other people's kids.
I think ours
And,
turned out pretty darn good.
Yeah. Anyways, so
Anyways.
that's it for today, guys. Thank you for tuning in for another episode of Tina and Anderson Show. And be sure to subscribe, hit the notification button, hit the like button also, and tell your friends. And yeah, and follow us on Instagram. We have our we have separate Instagrams, but then we have one together.
Yeah, we have one together
Yes.
that I manage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you'll see it here,
Share,
our Instagram.
share our
share it.
reels, comment.
Yeah, comment on our reels and our TikTok. Comment on this video also. And also, if there's something or a subject you want us to talk about, or if there's like a reel or a TikTok
Yeah,
you
if
want
there's
us to,
something you come across.
So
Yeah.
hit us up, send us a link.
Yeah, send us the video.
Send us a link on TikTok or wherever, and message us, and just let us know. We'll review it, and
We'll
we'll
talk
see,
about
and
it.
we'll see if this is worth talking about.
Yeah.
You know, you guys helping us get content will make our jobs easier.
Hey,
You know, but
send us something.
we're always on, we're on Instagram and TikTok, and we there are times, you know, we scroll through and we'll be like, all right, we're gonna talk about this, or we'll see this, and then I always get alert from Reddit, and then I'll like see, oh, what's on Reddit today, and then I'll be like, oh, this is a good story. So I usually go get through that, but if you guys
Anyways.
find something good, or an article, news article, or some type of stat, also let us know. And we definitely would love to talk about it. Or if you have just a question and you just want our opinion, hey, we'd love that too.
We're not professionals, but
Yeah.
we like to talk.
Yeah.
So bring
you
it
know,
up.
If you just want our opinion, you know,
Yeah.
and we love that too. So thank you guys for tuning in for another episode. We'll see you next week. Peace.